All right. You guys are going to go through some weeks of downtime since your return from Griffin Towers. Are you excited?
Extremely.
Very good.
Was that just towards him or everybody?
That was everybody. It's
Oh.
hard to see when my camera isn't on, because when I look in the camera, I look into each and every one of your unique souls.
If your video's not up, I don't know who's talking.
Yeah, that's fair, because you see my mouth moving, and that's when you know.
His
Right.
voice playing.
So we off camera we had a quick thread about what we're going to be doing with downtime. I don't want this to take up the majority of the recording an episode, but we'll just go in the order that we went in, just to make sure that everyone did actually have something, and if they had questions, to be able to answer them real quick. So Sin, your main thing is to join or study at the Tanner's Guild.
He's gonna full on join if he can.
Okay. So joining the Tanner's Guild, and obviously that would come with purchasing many of the tools that you use for your harvesting of creatures, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, obviously, to knock that out, joining the Tanner's Guild is by comparison, a lot more efficient than joining the Monster Hunters Guild. You don't have to go be teleported halfway across the world to a deserted arena to fight a giant automaton that then proceeds to get blown up and whatnot. And you don't have to have a particular team of people. It is all an individual craft-based guild. For those, the Tanner's Guild is in upper, I think, the Merchants District of Zobeck, and is primarily where people get a lot of their tanning and leatherworking tools and stuff from. But another part of the Tanner's Guild is obviously the dehiding of various creatures and such. So there is a specialty group in which you are able to join. I will come up with the dues for it. I would say probably, besides buying the gold, I'd say it's probably just 10 gold to join. I'm sure you have that in your inventory.
Oh yeah.
I'll just take 10 from your already large amount of gold coins. Okay. Let's see here. So joining is easy enough. Obviously, you're going to be whatever the lowest rank is going to be in that. But it does come with a perk of being able to purchase the tools necessary. And these tools you find are obviously not something that, while some of them are more general tools and can be sold in a general store, these ones are a lot harder to find. These ones have specific purpose.
Okay. And he's not going to go cheap on those. If there's an option for a better grade or higher tier, he's going to fork over the cash for it.
So you want like the diamond crusted blubber fork? Okay, I see how it is.
Right.
There's not currently any sort of high quality other than just the tool itself. It is possible that depending on various locations, other guild locations, not affiliated with one another, but they at least recognize and respect the craft. Places maybe more towards the northern coast where there's more whales and sea lions and such like that, things with large amounts of blubber on them, they might have better quality blubber forks or blubber pikes and things like that. And just depending on where you go, you actually might come across a pretty good masterwork quality. But all the ones here are good enough to be able to do the job. I'm gonna share with you a table. since you can be able to deduct this in the off time, but it is going to have a list of all of the various tools that you were able to get. I'm not going to say you need to have X specific tool, but I would recommend that you do have a relatively understandable amount of them, of different varying variety. Just so you can be able to be like, oh well, that way you don't buy a skinning knife and say I use my skinning knife for everything, because that just doesn't quite make sense. But I trust your judgment.
Well, I mean, for the purposes of RP, I'd prefer like knowing what everything is and what it does.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think there's only a few items that maybe around 50, 45 gold pieces, but it's typically average 10 to 20. So. Oh, well, I just sent that in the voice chat if you want to be able to use that.
Yeah, I grabbed it.
So that is easy enough. And the other thing you were mentioning is that you were going to, if time allowed, which time will allow, you want to visit with Victor. Is that sort of a more role-playing aspect?
Yeah, that would be more role-playing.
Okay. Let's see. So purchasing harvesting tools and... spending time with Victor. Alright, so I will say hold on to the Victor thing. Because we'll have a few weeks where we can be able to get this out, and I want to make sure that I'm focused on it for sessions that we come up to.
Perfect.
But yeah, the Tanners Guild, as far as you don't really have to have anybody's help. There obviously is some hesitation from some, but these are people that skin monsters and harvest parts. They've been around some pretty disgusting and horrific massacres of anatomy. So they understand and they kind of sympathize with you. Some are curious, but they don't ask.
Okay.
Leofston.
Sir.
Looks like you're next. You wanted to go travel back to the Griffin Tower and purchase the robe of useful items from Lyland. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, and then you wanted to convert the splint armor to a more Jomsborg style. Okay. Well, let's start with buying the robe of useful items.
Is that still going to be attached to the trip with Prudence?
It is, but we'll get the robe and stuff out of the way, because the goal of that RP is probably not the transaction of buying the robe of useful items. It's more of the interaction between the characters, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Creating splint Jomsborg style armor.
Is there actually lamellibranch armor in this?
That sounds like a real fancy word that I would totally know as a dungeon master of a fantasy game. Like, the closest thing I ever know about lavalier is a mic. So you're talking about a little piece of armor that covers up the microphone when you're trying to have a presentation or a TED Talk?
Lamellibranch. It's like it's like the plates that are tied together, which is essentially what I was having him do. Like, take the pieces of splint and like tether them together in more of a lamellibranch. But as I was doing that, I was wondering if there's an actual lamellibranch item.
Lanolin. That's sheep's wool. Okay. Send me a picture of it. I'm pretty sure it's possible. It's certainly possible.
Because I didn't want to say like I have taken the split mail and turned it into lamellibranch. I just wanted to aesthetically look like it, to be more Viking-esque.
Oh yeah. If it's just all about image flavor, baby, you're good.
Okay, good. I was just like, it's just flavor. It just looks cool. It doesn't have to actually be converted into lamellibranch.
Yeah, statistically, you Gucci.
Okay.
You could have a giant DC for Dolce & Gabbana on it, and I'd be like, cool. That's a difficulty check right there.
I'm sorry, Leoston's a Versace. Thank you.
Ooh. I'm gonna take away your inspiration.
No!
I'm kidding. All right. So,
We shouldn't have brand loyalty anyway.
right? Down with corporations, down with the man.
Burn them all.
Okay, and then so just so we can kind of cover the cloak of robe of useful items.
Yes.
With the discount, you were able to get that at 376 gold pieces.
Can't complain.
You shouldn't complain. I did roll for those. Would you be interested in hearing what you get from the robe of useful items?
I would love to. What are my useful items?
Okay. I'm going to preface this right now by saying that I rolled these and then realized that whatever I was using to determine the cost was broken. Absolutely broken. And I've since found a more reliable source for robes of useful items. So let's just say Lyland either did not know what he had or what they had on them, or was fully aware and wanted to be able to give thanks without giving a direct thanks.
Would it be helpful that next time Leofson saw him, he actually does apologize?
Sure, I mean you're still gonna get it. It's a nice turn. It's a nice turn because I mean I sometimes I deal with player characters who are just downright mean and criminal.
I mean, we are the convicts.
You are all convicts. Now, the more important question, Leofston. Does only Kelly wish to know what is in the robe of useful items, or do you want me to share with the class?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know.
Only you?
Only me.
How could you do this to us?
You'll find out eventually.
Your own daughter.
Okay.
We'll hang out and find out.
I will send you that list now, and you can look it over. And if you change your mind to for me to share it, then I can do just that. Alright, so besides that, you obviously were going to train in your new armor, which is fine. I will say we've already talked about the repercussions of wearing splint armor.
Have we? I assumed it was much like chainmail, where I don't have sneak.
Nope, not quite.
Yeah,
it is okay. So that's a real easy cover. Split mail is heavy, which that typically means that you would need to have a strength requirement in order to be able to wear it. Heavy armor, it is 60 pounds. If a wearer has a strength score lower than 15, your speed is reduced by 10 feet.
We did talk about this a little bit, but we also have a solution.
We do, but I mean, if you wear it now, just know that between now and then, you'll be armored up, boy, but you'll be slow.
Fat rolls from Dark Souls.
You could do that, yeah. Okay, I think that kind of covers you for use of 3 weeks. Next up, I believe that brings us to Prudence. You are going to focus on what we basically, I think we both are on the same page. It's not exactly sowing rumors, because like that just seems weird, but it is team building, and I think we're just going to call it making connections, relationship building, and not that kind of relationship, like general respecting business relationship.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, whatever happens, happens, but...
So, I mentioned it'll cost basically 50 gold a week. This is like for general travel expenses and whatnot. Maybe helping purchase particular items and such. But how many weeks of the 3 would you like to spend for that?
I'll just say all of them, because I didn't think about anything else that Prudence may want to do.
Fair enough. Alright, so you are using your recent wealth on at least building up better relationships between what's his last name?
Duskwood?
I believe so. Moss and Victor.
Your pest.
Yeah, you remember the last name? I do not. Because I just don't see it like in front of me all the time. Alright, so 150 gold out of your pocket means that you are down to this amount. I'm going to update your total there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That actually reminds me, also I'll need to update Leofston's total.
Please and thank you, I don't know what numbers are.
It's fine.
Me either.
It's fine. We'll just have the DM do everything. I'm kidding. I love you guys.
We love you too. That's why we love you, because you know what numbers are and we don't.
If I didn't know what numbers are, I'm pretty sure I'd be fired. Okay. Now, when it comes to the items and turning those in, if you're going to pull that kind of stuff on me, then we'll definitely have to revisit that in a week or so. Alright, so 3 weeks of building relationships basically gets them improved to where they are incredibly beneficial and cooperative. Let me see here, because it improves their general attitude one step. And I would say if we start them off as indifferent, like there's interest, but you can still be indifferent. But then, let's see, stages.
Yeah, they'd at least be indifferent because they asked for help from Dernskapper.
Yeah. Let's see here. Diplomacy. Okay. Yeah, so indifferent is right in the middle of the road. So you've increased it to beyond helpful. I would say that they are most certainly
Friendly.
well, you went from indifferent to friendly to helpful. And if there is such a thing beyond helpful, which I would probably say is allied, then, and that's probably the most you'd be able to do. I don't think you can make them any more friendly than allies. Then they are able to make some. They will be able to self-benefit each other. We will figure out what that means for you and your group somewhere down the road. Between Moss and Victor. Okay. Am I missing anything else for you?
Nope, that was the only thing I came up with for him.
Yeah, and I know you got that RP, the idea, the scene you want to do with eyebrow raising over there, Kelly or Leofston. Let's see.
Sexy boys on one cart.
Leofston, it's.
He only has one eyebrow that works.
He broke the other one.
Oh, poor baby.
So Tendi is technically next. Tendi is not here right now. She's not feeling great. And I remember that they're going to be studying to be proficient in calligrapher's tools. So I can go over that next time when she returns. Proficiency in calligrapher tools. And they are looking for sending stones. So we will come back to that. Because I want to confirm that with her before I even touch the gold totals. Poppy, looks like you are next.
It's me.
It's you. So you want to start learning medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being proficient in medicine itself. Studying medicine skill. Usually, we can go to resolve yours because yours is pretty good. I think normally it's 10 work weeks minus your intelligence modifier, and the cost would be 25 gold. What is your intelligence modifier?
+0.
You are not an intelligent creature? I'm kidding.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
no, it was you all along.
It was me all along.
It's me. Hi.
Hi. I'm the problem. It's me.
Okay. So, training in medicine would take normally 10 weeks. If you spend 10 times the cost, so 250 gold, I will cut that time in half.
Can you repeat that? My brain shut off.
It's fine. I did mention numbers. Basically, I can say that by the time that you head out to the Temple of the Gods, you will be proficient in medicine.
I'm in.
Okay.
Let's go.
Because again, three weeks worth of doing that, but that's basically all you'd be able to do. I know you were looking for also research and such, but that is going to be quite difficult.
Yeah, that was like if I have time sort of ordeal.
Yeah.
That wasn't my like number one.
Yep. Okay, so I will deduct the 250 from your totals. Okay, perfect. And so now I will, if you look at your skills page, I will mark that you are now proficient in medicine.
It's been a long ride, guys. We did it.
It's been a long road. Okay, and then lastly, Mara, you are wanting to train in the double-bladed scimitar, correct?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, let's get some weapons. I would probably say it's very similar to studying in this case. Being the whole 10 weeks minus. You are already proficient in regular scimitars, correct?
Yes.
Okay. This is a very exotic weapon. So I would say it is still... Okay, it'll be 10 work weeks minus your wisdom modifier, which would be 4, which brings it down to 6. Now...
Oh, I thought it was intelligence.
It normally is intelligence, but I'll explain
Okay.
why. Because you are already proficient with scimitars, I would say, and remember, a double-bladed scimitar is usually a weapon of the elves. So you essentially use your wisdom and seek out and spend some time either reaching out to an elf that you may have believed would be able to teach you, or making a new contact within Margreve. And the elves themselves are pretty hard to find, but you are more than capable of finding an elf in your own forest. So again, it would be 6 weeks, but you can be able to cut that in half by basically doing 10 times the amount of gold. So again, 250 gold. That would cut it from 6 to 3 weeks, and so that would be your whole downtime. But I think you were planning on doing that anyways, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that sound good to you?
Sure.
Okay. So we need to make sure we make a notable change. Minus 2. So you already possess the weapon, which is good. But you are now proficient with it, which means all that really means is that you'll be able to add your proficiency modifier to the damage rolls. There we go. That's an easy enough button to press. So now it has changed from a +3 to attack to a +5. Let's say we also you learn a little bit more about about the sort of combat and warriorship, you may find that using this double-bladed scimitar is a little bit easier than doing the whole hoof thing.
Okay. Always got those hooves in my front pockets.
You do. You just bust them out whenever you're done. And believe it or not, that already pretty much covers everybody. So training in double-bladed scimitars. So
Did you take the money
I did, yes.
and run?
I'm sitting still, unfortunately.
Oh.
Actually, fortunately, I'm not running for nobody. All right, so again, next time we'll go over Tendy's downtime. Make sure she's got that. Did I miss taking? Be honest. Did I miss taking money out of somebody's account for something?
I'll be honest that I didn't check before or after.
You took money out of mine.
I have no idea. I didn't check it.
I just trusted you.
Yep.
I wrote my total down last time, so let me get my notes out.
Appreciate that. I don't think I did it for sins.
I guess I do have a question.
I didn't do it.
Tools.
Yeah, no problem. I didn't do it for you, Sin, because I was going to figure out how much you were going to buy first.
Yeah, that's actually my question.
I did take out the money
through
for
it
that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I checked all of these tools and I came up with how much it would cost for everything. It was like 403 for everything. But at the same time, it's like almost 100 pounds worth of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think of what I would actually need. So I think for the sake of this, I think he would have asked what would be the most useful tools around this area.
Well, I mean, I think it's going in backwards order from last letter in the alphabet to first. I would say a skinning pole and a skinning knife, because while a knife is more for the smaller creatures, a skinning pole is more for the much larger. You know, basically it's using leverage in a skinning pole. Allows for more oomph to be put behind it, just instead of just what your forearm can be able to do. I would probably say a mincing knife in case you need to actually cut something up into very small pieces.
Right.
Probably
the hide hooks too.
Hide hooks, yeah. You want to make sure you can be able to let that stuff drain of all the blood and blah 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 while you're tanning it. It would be useful for me to know exactly what some of these items are. I don't think you need a fire pike, but I'll say gaff might be questionable from the looks of it. I would say certainly a cutting spade and a bone saw.
Bone saw for sure.
Yeah. And
is the baler what I think it is? Is it just cinching up everything?
I think so. That would be fairly good to know. Baler. No, it's baler tool. Am I looking at the right thing here? Gotta be real careful of what you Google nowadays. That doesn't really tell me much. It says it's like a water bailing tool.
Oh. I think Sim would have looked. If that's the case, he would have been like, "Well, I could just."
I'd say that would probably help you. It does say that could be able to help with making some sort of a fence post hole, or like if you need to. It's able to kind of take a chunk out of the ground with relative ease if you're needing to either put something into the ground instead of just on top of the ground for stability.
Okay.
Maybe not necessarily used, in total for animal harvesting, but if you catch a heavy creature, then you can put a nice big log upright, and that'll be strong enough to hold whatever it is you're trying to put up on it.
Perfect.
So.
All right, so he'll just get the ones that you've mentioned.
Okay.
Let me get an idea of.
Like I said, they may not have they don't have any masterwork stuff, but it is possible to find some elsewhere depending on what exotic places you visit. And there is bonuses for, obviously, there's benefits for having these tools, obviously. Well, whenever you use them, you'll find out what they are. But I would say you'll be proficient in them. So if you wanted to add the skill, I'll add the skill for you. I'll just put tools, harvesting. Obviously you're going to need to change whatever the stat is. Like if I say, okay, it's going to be a strength 1, or it's going to be, dex or constitution or whatnot, then you'll be able to add your proficiency bonus to it.
Perfect. I think if I got everything, it's like 164 gold. Is the cost?
Okay. Sounds good. I wasn't adding them up as I went, but I do. That sounds about right. So you said 160?
164.
164.
Yep.
That's 164. Okay. Sounds good. I'll get that updated.
Perfect.
Okay. So, 1 second. I have a child who is not aware of her volume levels, so I'll be right back.
Ellie, what are you working on?
Making a bag for my sister-in-law for Christmas. It's like a little little clutchy purse, and it's more like a wallet, but I'm going to turn it into more of like a little purse.
That looks so cute.
Thank you. I made the mistake this year. Thank you. I made the mistake this year of deciding to make Christmas presents, and now it's December 11th.
Oh no, the days they creep up on me.
Not to mention all my school projects and stuff, so I've been having a great time.
All right. So all right, I'm gonna figure out time jump stuff, but who would like to start their little scene of roleplay during this downtime? Not everyone jump at once.
Can I go?
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
What scene did you have in mind?
So she's gonna be like training with this gruff scimitar master, training in the yard.
Mhm.
And she's gonna the first couple of days she's really not doing well. Aren't your kids supposed to be in bed?
Not yet.
Okay. I was like, they were running around behind you.
It doesn't look like I know, but believe me, I know. You always know.
Is this 18 plus training?
No, I just thought it was funny. I was like, those little sneaky fuckers.
Yeah, they think they're slick.
But yeah, so she's like in the yard, like training, and she's really stumbling. You know, the second blade is really throwing her off her rhythm, and she starts to get it a little bit. Hang on, I'm looking something up. And then kind of like somewhere in the middle of the second week, she starts to really get the hang of it. She's going along, and you can kind of hear like through the wind this song that sounds like "You're the best around," and she's like, "What?" And she looks around, and she keeps kind of going, and then a couple days later, she's really getting it now. She finally gets a good one on her trainer, and she goes, "Nothing's ever gonna keep you down."
You find like a vine and tie it around your head in like in a bandana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she ties her hair back 'cause she's really getting serious now, and there's like sweat dripping down her face, and he's sneering at her and thinking that she's gotten by on all these lucky chances and there's no way, and she finally she gets the best of him and he can't even deny it, and you just hear the thunder, "You're the best of it!" And she's just like, "Yeah." No.
I'm gonna say, you with that sort of epic training montage, this elf scimitar master, I have their name in mind, but I want to see if you'll be able to guess it in a little bit. But obviously as most of the Margreve Forest denizens are aware, it is now going to be, by the time you finish your training, it is, the first week or so into Redleaf, which is the equivalent of August, but unlike Kansas, where we're in this place, you're basically, it would be like what August would be sort of in middle of Europe, sort of. Okay. So it's starting to get a wee bit chilly. Mm-hmm. And there has been a new trend amongst all of the younger elves, younger being about your age. Okay. And you are gifted a piece of clothing. It is a mixture of it is cloth on the outside, and it is tightly packed, a thin, tightly packed wool on the inside. It has long sleeves to cover up the arms when it gets cold. It has and also because of the fact that it's cold, you find that it does have a front pocket that you could be able to conjoin and keep your hands warm close to your stomach. Mm-hmm. And it comes with a hood as well.
Is it fur trimmed?
It is not fur trimmed, but it is they managed to use certain clay dye to make this a light gray hoodie that you basically get from this elf.
Love it.
This elf doesn't understand the purpose, but it was gifted it for its birthday by one of the youths, and is not above regifting. So you get a unworn and unused light gray hoodie that Rocky Balboa used when he climbed the steps and did his training montage.
I love it. She grabs it in her hands and she bows and thanks.
You do get warned, though, that if someone does recognize it, it did not come from him.
Okay. Alright. Secret safe with me, boss.
Very good. Is there anything else on that in that montage or trip that you wanted to?
No, other than we're recording this, right? I really want to go back and listen to that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we're recording. All right,
but no, that was it.
Okay. Who's anyone next? Anyone got one? It doesn't have to be. It does not have to be short. I mean, they don't have to be a particular length. We've got 3 weeks of these, so this is more for me to kind of make sure that I've got my stuff done while you guys roleplay.
I think I can go next if you want.
Okay. Sin, what is it you wish to roleplay?
Going to Victor's and discussing not only the things ailing Sin, but also Victor's past, I guess, is the reason why he was in Krakova.
Krakova. Okay. Well, I mean, you certainly have plenty of time within the 3 weeks between buying and learning and training at the items of the Tanner's Guild. And obviously, since the recent quitting of one group, the death of another, and the continued coming and going of the alpha group that still has yet to come up with a name because, you know, work's just been real hard. You find time to go to Victor's, or to meet up with Victor. Where do you want to meet Victor?
He would have just went to his place at the guild hall to find him. He wouldn't know where else to catch up with him.
Okay. I'd say there's definitely been some times where maybe the first time you thought of it, you go and you find out that he's been gone for a full week to a trip to Margreve Forest, Griffin Towers, and that the expected data return would be on a certain day. And so sometime during those 3 weeks, you managed to find a day that he has returned before, you know, basically unloading or loading up something to take back. You find that he's doing this for, you know, for the next 3 weeks. He just seems to be going off with Prudence in the cart towards Margreve Forest. I think one time maybe you see an animal accompany Victor that seems rather too intelligent for its own good, and you assume that it might be Moss's raven. But there's a time where you do manage to meet him in his office in between travels, so we can go ahead and we can start at that scene there.
All right. Sin will just hesitantly, like he walks up to the door, walks away, and then comes back and then knocks on the door.
Well, a moment passes. You hear the hissing of some sort of steam-based machine that he has probably behind the door, and a couple of tinks of metal on metal perhaps, and soon enough you hear the wiping of feet and the door opening to Victor, kind of a bit tired, but and drenched with either steam, sweat, or both.
Victor.
Hello, Sin. Yeah. I'm glad you made it. Do you mind helping me real quick?
Of course. What can I help you with?
I just need you to read the gauge on this, and he kind of brings you. He doesn't seem to hesitate. Not really, respectfully. He kind of just rushes you to a back room where there is a giant steel copper bolts. Like this, just a big giant barrel, about 10 times the size of a casked barrel, and there are pipes coming up and down and out of it. And a bunch of different gears to turn, and he's reaching for something in the back, and he goes, "I need you to look at this gauge. You see the number goes from 0 all the way to 200. I need you to let me know when it rests right at about 160. It's like right here. If you see it hit this little line, let me know.
Hit this line." Here?
Yes. Don't hit it. Just let me know when the line gets to when they match up.
Okay.
And are you sensitive? You have sensitive ears?
I hear pretty good. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's not a yes. So, and he reaches back behind, and he kind of rolls up his sleeve a little bit, and you see him kind of reach around, and you hear a quick, and he goes, "Ah!" He curses in Krakovan, and he starts turning what he can, just barely, just kind of like a wrist turn of this this, what do you call it? Pipe turning thing.
A wheel?
That's what it's called.
A what?
A crank?
I mean, yeah, like the wheel that you essentially, the valve of valve. Yeah. Turning this valve like ever so slightly, and slowly you start to see the needle rise, and slowly. And obviously, it's tough to turn. Obviously, if there was room behind it, maybe it'd be easier to use both hands. But eventually, over time, as he gets closer and closer to that 160 he told you, there's a louder and louder like whistle, like a tea kettle whistle that just increases in pitch, higher and higher and higher. You start to get hot, and it is steamy in this room. And finally, it hits the 160. You tell him to stop, and he quickly switches hands and holds it, and then puts something in place and tightens something down. And he takes takes a towel that he has draped over his belt, and starts patting down his brow. And he goes, I appreciate that. I've been gone. I haven't been able to keep up on this invention.
What is this? What does this do?
It seems a lot larger than you'd think, but what it does is it takes a lot of various leaves.
Dad, we're going to bed.
You going to bed?
Can
Okay.
I say goodnight to him?
You can say goodnight real quick.
Yeah.
Just say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
I have crazy hair day tomorrow.
That's
Night.
not good night. That's I have crazy hair day tomorrow.
I mean, it's important information.
No,
I want to know more about Crazy Hair Day.
the child broke the rules of engagement, and now we'll pay.
Whoa.
But he goes, no, I take a lot of different, tea leaves, but it is so expensive to buy them little by little. You take a bunch of them, and you're able to put them in this large container, and what it does is it basically filters it down, and then the steam pressurizes it, and it makes the tea I've been working on. I just have not been around to be able to work on it and keep the upkeep.
You make tea?
I do make tea on occasion. Yes, it's what it's better than milk. Milk goes bad.
I suppose. I have a dealer that I go to. Gives me a fair price, but I would very much like to try your tea, if that's okay.
Oh, sure. My tea it is very common tea. There's a lot of specialties. You can get into the craftsmanship of tea making, and I'm sure that's probably that might be. This is just more greater quantities to be able to, for the guild, and maybe sell a little bit on the side. But again, thank you for your help. If I could trouble you, I don't know if you'll be here in town very often. I have been going to and from the Margreve for the place that you went to, the Griffin Tower.
Yes, I'm familiar. Yes.
Yeah, I've not been able to. I've not been able to actually keep tabs on this machine, make sure that it works. If I leave you, could I trust you with a spare key to be able to come make sure that the pressure is still showing 160?
Yes, I'll take care of it. I was just told that I'd have quite a bit of downtime, I guess.
Good. Well, hopefully this will only be a few more weeks, but it seems like everything's going pretty well. This Moss guy seems alright, so I wouldn't need to bog you down with extra responsibility. I would just say nightly before bed, as long as it's not like super late. Just make sure that it is that it stays like this. If you need to adjust anything, it is a little hard to reach, but in the back you could just turn it a little bit and check once at a time. I think you'll be all right.
Okay. How far would you say the gauge is from the valve?
I'd say with your appendages, it's very easy for you to do.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I guess I had some questions. And I also wanted to show you the things that I guess the other things that I told you about.
Sure. Yeah. I'll just sit down. Here, let's get away from this steam. We'll go take a seat and we can discuss. So, what is this you were? I know we spoke. We realized we are both from Krakova. Yeah. Now I'm from Heidelberg. You said do you know exactly where you are from?
I don't remember because I lost my memory.
Hmm.
All I know for sure is I woke up in Krakova in a cave, and I know from another person who knows a bit about my situation, I guess, that I was part of an experiment.
The experiment. Okay. Well, when you say Krakova, you mean the capital, not I don't believe I know much about the capital itself in regards to experiments, but are you sure? Do you have that right?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I have very little information, but what I do have is pretty solid.
Okay, well, I mean, as far as what I know about Krakova, it's the largest trading hub in that whole entire in the whole entire Nether Straits. There's, you've got Skogarholm, which is another big capital, and it's the Nether Straits. I believe you're unfamiliar, but it is the big body of water that's between where we are and then what is considered the North, the Great North.
Hey, so it's like a seaport. It is.
It's a city that's built on a dozen of different harbor islands, and a lot of them are connected by bridges. Yeah, obviously, this is Krakowa itself is where a lot of the first kings and queens were crowned, but I don't believe I haven't quite heard of any sort of experiments necessarily to, you know, that come out of a trading city like that. Now, what you're saying, you don't remember much, but you have you believe differences about you that you did not have before.
I'm not sure. I know that what is going on with me is not normal. Let me show you this. I guess he pulls the bandages away and shows Victor his tattoo. This is all that I had to go on when I woke up in the cave. I don't know what it means, but
well,
does it mean anything to you at all?
It doesn't right away. But have you tried going? Have you tried going up there since you have left? Since you've woken up?
I haven't. I went to a couple different places on the way to Zobeck. I wasn't meaning to go anywhere in particular, but I didn't have my head, I guess. Couldn't remember nothing, so I jumped into a caravan and fell asleep. And person who found me there and got pretty upset, if you can imagine. And then I went to a couple different places. That's why I knew that I couldn't just talk to people in the way that I look. Scares them.
Well, I don't know if you mind, but I could certainly jot down just general observations if you allow me to get a closer look.
Okay, I guess I'll just show you the first thing. Sin pulls his mask down and opens his mouth. Yep, exactly.
Yep. Right, so it obviously have sort of a lamprey style mouth. And is it rows and rows of teeth, or is it just kind of like just where it just opens on multiple hinges?
There are 3 rows of teeth on each side of the jaw.
Okay. He does kind of look closely. Because I don't, you know, it's quite remarkable. It's hard to tell whether or not this is from something, or if these extra teeth. I mean, assuming this is all under the assumption that you are human, like myself. Like human, we only have, you know, about 30 or so teeth. This is clearly, each different section has about 30 teeth in and of itself. And the way that they are placed looks to appear natural enough. Like, I don't sense like it was just hobbled together. And the openings itself is very fascinating. I assume you don't have any issue eating anything.
I normally just eat fruit, but I can eat other things. They're just not as delicious as fruit.
I like eggs myself. There are many different ways you can prepare eggs. It's very nice.
That is very true. Many different ways, varieties of eggs. But I guess I'll show you the next thing.
Sure, yeah, go right ahead.
You don't have a weak stomach, right?
I have not had any eggs since I have gotten back from the trip to the Margreve forest, if that is what you're asking.
Okay, brace yourself. He pulls his shirt off and shows his back.
Now,
And all of the his swarm comes out to.
oh, your swarm is showing. He looks with general interest. He doesn't seem to be disgusted, of course. I think you kind of get the sense at this point that he is, maybe in his studies, he's come across things that are, he's probably dissected a thing or two. And he looks with general fascination. He's like, this is quite interesting. I will tell you that I've seen this sort of symbiosis in different forms on other various things, maybe once or twice. Not insects of this, in the way that they are in and out. Do you feel when they go in, under the armholes? Do you wanted this, Angie? I'm sorry.
Yes. I can feel them all over me and inside of me. I also we have a shared mind.
Very interesting. I believe that is very similar to the experiences I've had. It is mostly those who are more in tune with and spend more time around nature, or those that do a lot of hunting. But what is really quite different in this case is these appendages. Are you able to have a full range of mobility and motion?
Yes, I did it first, but they're still growing.
They're still growing.
Yes, I haven't. They're still in pain, so I just assume that there's still a little bit more growing to do. And he extends them out to the ceiling.
Are they capable of being able to support your weight?
Yes, he puts them down onto the ground and lifts himself up off of the chair.
That's quite interesting. I will say I don't think I've seen anybody with that necessarily. I have seen, those with maybe like 4 arms, but those are like all of the arms seem to match. This is, you have your opposable thumbs and digits on your main hands, but these are like prehensile extra limbs. He spends a moment to kind of sketch it a little bit.
I hated them at first, but they're pretty useful actually. So,
well, I tell you, if you are out and about and not in any sort of major city, don't be afraid. If that is useful, then by all means use it. But I do understand you wanting to keep most of this under wraps. This is,
I don't want to draw too much attention because I've gotten both, I guess, curious attention and very negative attention, and I've hurt people on accident. Of course, it doesn't happen as much as it used to. That was back when I was still figuring it out, I guess.
All right. Well, this is. I don't know how long. How long was it that you said it's been since you have woken up?
It was. Let's see. I'm gonna say it was 23 days to get to Zobeck, and then after that, it's just been since. Let's see. Just a few days. I don't remember how long I was in. We were all in prison for different reasons, but Then I guess since we joined the guild, I guess how long would that be? Out of character.
I mean, it's basically from what I recall, our first like it was before the Midsummer Festival, which is basically at the end of Low Summer. So I mean, it's been like a couple months, basically.
I guess it's just been a couple of months. It seems like a lot longer, but been doing a lot of things, meeting new people.
Well, I can tell you that this is probably something that has not just simply like happened overnight. If this was something that you believe was done to you, this is the remarkable quality of this would suggest at least a year's worth of work.
When I woke up in the cave, there was many others like me, but they were not alive. They were dead. All of them at various stages, and not all of them had the same uniqueness, I guess.
When you woke up and you left this cave, you said that you found the cart and stowed away on it and fell asleep. But before you fell asleep, it would have been one of the two, so I need you to try to remember. Did you remember going through a large swamp, or was it more hills that you went across?
It was hills. I would have remembered a swamp.
Okay. Well, the reason why I ask, if you don't recall, if it was in fact Krakova, which maybe it was, or maybe it was some sort of maybe keep or something far on the outskirts of it, but if it wasn't the swamps, the Siarka swamp, which is basically Heidelberg is right there on the edge of the swamp before you get to Krakova proper. But if you saw a bunch of hills and sort of mountain tops, that would be more of the Oster Hills, which sort of confirms a bit of my suspicion. Perhaps maybe I could tell you. You would take it with a grain of salt. It would obviously require a more in-depth research, into the matter. But,
I mean, anything that you could tell me would be more than I have.
All right. Let me. You want some tea?
Yes, please.
Okay. He goes and prepares you both a cup of tea. And give me just a moment. I'm gonna give you some history on the province of Krakovar. I just have to put away a lollipop a kid tried to stow away into their bed during reading time. So give me a second.
Oh.
Criminals.
Criminals, a lot of them.
That's right. I'm just gonna have to get like a studio apartment, like where I can literally where all the beds are in the same room, and I can watch them to make sure that they're doing the right thing. I mean, if only they were listening to the sweet sounds of tavern music for 3 hours, I'm sure they'd fall asleep in it immediately. So, okay. So, this is gonna be Victor telling you this, but I'm gonna actually read from some information regarding the province of Krakovar, which would be from the Midgard World Book. there's going to be potentially a lot of information here. A lot of it is probably not going to be... A lot of it isn't going to be relevant, but it may paint a better picture of the country itself, or the province. Okay?
I will take some notes.
You don't have to. I'll probably copy and paste this for you if you want later.
Okay.
So, things are very different now in the former electoral kingdom of Krakova. The surviving members of the royal family are in rumor to be exiled in Dornig. The Reaver dwarves from Wolfheim have seized the peninsula to the northwest of Krakova, dubbed the Wolfmark. And the city of Jozd, or Jozht, Jozht, the city of Jozd and the rest of the country is under vampiric rule. Princess Hristina, Grand Marshal of the Ghost Knights, rules the newly formed province of Krakovar as its protector from its capital Krakova, the city of the Mermaid. The Slata, the thousands of landholding nobles who used to elect the king and make the laws of the land, have now been forced to toe the protector's line following a series of bloody executions of those who proved recalcitrant. Now, if you're anyone like me, and this is not me reading, if you're anything like me and you come across a word you have never heard before, a good thing is to stop and immediately look at the meaning of it. Because because
I got no clue.
Yeah. Recalcitrant means having an obstinately uncooperative attitude towards authority or discipline.
Got it.
So, a class of recalcitrant 15-year-olds. A 9-year-old recalcitrant daughter who decided to take a lollipop to bed and try to see if she could fool her old man. But I wasn't born at night, and it certainly wasn't last night. Anyways, back to the reading. They still administer much of the government of the province, but their power has been hobbled. Princess Hristina abolished the annual gathering of envoys where new laws are promulgated, and had the senior members of the Slata, the High Posol and magnates, killed for treason against the crown. Throughout the land, Wotan's temples were razed, and the priestesses of the Red Goddess established new shrines to Marina in the cities and towns, while Perun's places of worship were rededicated as temples to his mask as Mavros. Mask meaning sometimes gods wear multiple various masks depending on what region. They oftentimes might end up being the exact same god. Obviously, new commanderies of the Ghost Knights have been established in Heidelberg and Tannenberg, rebuilt following its destruction in the conquest. The vampires' hold on Krakovar is tenuous. The undead were able to conquer the kingdom by launching an aggressive blitzkrieg spearheaded by the Ghost Knights and fearsome Darakul troops. Now they find themselves in day-to-day control of a province with a population more than 7 times that of the principalities. The nobles live in fear of their new masters, but resistance is growing strong among the peasantry. The eastern coast and border is still at risk from attacks by Northlanders, trolls, and Kazaki raiders. And there's also a belief that a Queen Ursula is attempting to win the support of Grandmother Baba Yaga. I know that there's a lot of new information in there. But again, I'll copy and paste that to you as well. There's a lot of, obviously there are cities within Krakovar. So I will mostly cover where you believe Sin to be originating from, which is the capital, Krakowa, and then we'll probably call it there. Because with all new information means a whole slew of new questions, I'm sure, and I'll probably have you ask maybe 1 or 2 questions. The provincial capital, Krakowa, remains the largest trading hub of the Niederstraits, even after falling into vampire hands. The docks are among the finest in the region, excellent shelter and quays for cargoes. It drives trade to Bjornshafen, Corlandia, Tanzerhall, and as far west as Bemia. In the past, the city's size and power worked for it. There have been attempts by dwarves or the guilds of Vadim to dominate shipping in the straits, and they were met with fierce reprisals and open piracy. The princess is determined to keep trade flowing and has now put a general-at-arms, now admiral, Ungur, the highest-ranking living officer in the Ghost Knights, in charge of the entire navy. Obviously, their merchant fleet is always vigilant against attacks from Reaver dwarves that are based out of Skolgarholm or Jost, which is the two, if you have a map up, it is the 2 main cities in that peninsula called the Wolfmark. The city is built on dozens of harbor islands connected by bridges. The largest of them is Mermaid's Island, more than a mile long. This is where the first kings and queens of Krakowa were crowned, and where the Slapta used to meet to elect new kings. Mermaid's Island and its golden fields, where the nobility would gather during the envoy season, are now off limits. An impressive assembly hall of the magnates has now fallen into disrepair. And with the rumors of resistance that Victor tells you, it is believed that the council chamber, there might be secret meeting places all throughout by supporters who want to lead the resistance against vampiric rule. Yeah, that essentially covers most of it. Obviously, there's a lot more with different cities and castles and towns and such in there. But I will let you think for a second and come up with a couple of like 1 or 2 questions if you want me to dive into something specific. Go to bed. I'm not born to go to bed. I also got cookies. For me and only me. So do you have any questions? Anything you want me to kind of dive into a little bit more in detail?
Yes. Sin, as you're talking, Sin gets this overwhelming feeling that he's this familiar feeling. His mind just like randomly simulates the way that the ocean smells and the way that the breeze feels. And when you say the word Darakul, his eyes just kind of lighten up briefly. That's a word that he understands but doesn't know what it is. So he wants to. Can you the Darakul? What do they do?
They are. How do I explain? They are natives of the Dark Kingdom. To the south of Krakowa is the Greater Duchy of Morgau. There's a lot of history I do not quite know about the Duracool, but I suppose I could tell you what I have gained in my studies. They are a race of... Many believe that they came from beneath the earth. And even still to this day do not prefer to be in the daylight. But they have seemed to be... They are not quite vampires, as I know that they have forged an alliance with Prince Lucan, who is the current vampiric lord and ruler of Morgau itself. They try to fight against dark elves, dwarves, any race of the underworld seems to be what they focus on. But let me see here. You see him pulling some books out of some notes. Let's see. He mentions that they are entirely evil, and unfortunately, they are the best troops that the Greater Duchy can be able to field. Duchy can field. Let's see. These books are so big. Da-na-na-na. Okay. The Duracool were once members. I've seen many different types of Duracool, meaning that they are not a original race, but perhaps something that is. If you've taken like a dwarf or perhaps a human, or otherwise, they are a melting pot. But they're not mechanical like Gearforged, but they are more undead in terms of being akin to ghouls. But they can be able to still speak. And as such, they are sleepless and capable of marching without rest and able to always fight at their full strength. I don't think I've met a single person who appreciates them other than the Prince Lucan and those among the Morgau ranks that see them as useful tools and shock troops to be able to accomplish their conquest, but they are hated and feared basically everywhere. All good people turn against them, and they are known to feed on the flesh of the living. They are fairly selfish, only really obeying their superiors out of a sort of fear or worse, hatred. They worship the dark gods. Let's see, what else do I know? See chapter 3. Okay, I will see chapter 3. I didn't write this book, Sin. I would know exactly. I don't have tabs on every single page, but...
And I understand. I really appreciate this.
Does that seem to ring a bell for you for some reason?
I remember the name. I didn't know what they were, but I just remember when you said it. I guess it just felt familiar.
Yeah, oftentimes, since they are such capable fighters, they are, I believe, what make up these ghost knights. Not 100%, but this force, this army, when you become perhaps maybe a squire in the Ghost Knights. You enter this order as a living man or woman, or and you are bound in service to either vampires, of course. If there are cool like necromancers and stuff, or if you are a priestess of the dark god Marina. And I've heard that if you provide good service for the Ghost Knights, you are then risen up after 5 or 10 years into the ranks of the undead foot soldiers that are in fact the body of the army. I don't know much about the army itself, as yours truly has not gotten close enough to really know much, and it seems that in the destruction a lot of information has been lost.
It's unfortunate. Oh, what about where you're from? How did you I guess how did you go from there to here?
Well, Heidelberg is right between the Wolfmark and Krakow, and when things started getting bad, it seemed as best of it wasn't a long opportunity for me to be able to realize. If I would have known maybe sooner, I could have packed up a lot of my belongings. Other certain research notes that I'm sure are just equally as lost. I made it down as quickly as I could, cutting through the swamp, mostly via river, so I would avoid most of the river dwarves and all of that. And got lucky enough to make it all the way to Warszawa before taking the main road itself. I wanted to avoid in Doresh and Morgau, as far as undead or not my particular favorite to rub elbows with. So I cut into Dornig a bit and headed down through the Iron Crags and eventually settled upon this city. I'd like to think that perhaps I stopped here because I was absolutely dead tired. I wanted to go perhaps maybe further south, but I think I have found a good life here for what I am capable of doing. Plus, I'm not too far away, I suppose, from from Krakow. So perhaps if maybe some sort of craziness happens and there is no longer vampiric rule and the princess gets to reestablish order within the whole entire province itself, perhaps maybe one day I can go back and retrieve my things.
Why do you think that? Why do the what do the vampires want?
I would imagine to be able to have power and control. I believe it is said that they feed on the blood of those that are living, so I'd imagine if one particular place runs out of blood, then I guess you have to pack up and go somewhere else. Speaking of food, did you want the cookie? It's really good with this tea.
Yes, that sounds great.
I've got somebody have made fudge, but this is they've taken peanuts and crushed them into a batter and made a I guess peanut cookie out of it.
Yeah, peanuts. It's that's something that that Prudence carries. I quite like those.
He hands you a cookie.
This is really good.
Well, I try not to have too many at once. There's sugar in there, and it sometimes keeps me up at night. But I also put sugar in my tea, so, you know.
Never tried that.
Be careful. Don't do it late at night. Do not. You'll be up all night.
Sin's eyes just go everywhere as he's thinking about what that would taste like.
I'm not sure if I have much else that I know of. Again, my research is mostly there, but perhaps maybe I might have information on one more thing.
Okay.
I will say one of the things that probably brought you pause, it doesn't have to be this, and it could be this certainly later. But one thing that you sort of pseudo-recognize, because the name itself has certainly been thrown around more in those lands than Zobeck and the Iron Crags and Margreve, but it is Grandmother Baba Yaga.
Yeah, that was something I was going to bring up. I wrote down Baba Yaga and Darakul. Those are the two words that I wrote down out of that stuff that I wanted to ask about.
Well, there you go. It's like I read your mind.
Yep.
Okay. A lot of this is going to be kind of pieced together, as most of the information about Baba Yaga is very, well, it's very rare to find, but I know that she is, there has been some sort of, they don't seem to get along. She does not seem to like the vampires of Mordekau, but there have also been contrasting stories of seeing them together, and then people don't even believe that they have seen Baba Yaga. As far as the mysterious grandmother herself, there's a lot of various stories, but to the southeast of Krakowa, there is a place called Nimheim. This is a land that typically you see a lot of gnomes originate from. Don't know much about them other than their ability to practice Feywild-like magic. They do a lot of weaving, gardening, of course. I'm sure they probably have other valuable quantities, but the story that they say about Baba Yaga is that especially for Nimheim, it is a child tale I got told when I was young. But there was once a gnome prince who made a promise to Baba Yaga. It was some sort of blood oath of loyalty and service. But then the gnome prince betrayed this promise by dying very swiftly. And instead of, I believe that the story point of the story was, if you make a deal with Baba Yaga, it does not matter whether you die or not. The price is going to be paid. The people, the prince's people, suffered quite slowly over many years. The scary stories of Baba Yaga sneaking into your room to be able to steal your beard for her pillow stuffing, summoning all sorts of demonic dogs and hags, and all sorts of nightmarish creatures. I think on a whim, she would travel through the villages of Nimheim and simply just light them entirely on fire for either kindling or for her hunting drakes. But
that is so terrible.
I know. You could say so, but on the flip side, I have heard that there are also very, very bad things about the gnomes of Nimheim. I don't know exactly when, perhaps obviously before I was born, but there must have been a point of time where they became dealings with demonic forces. So some could say that yes, burning villages of demonic worshipping gnomes is a bad thing, but at the same time, they were worshipping demons. So the main thing to remember, Sin, is that Baba Yaga is very mysterious, and it's hard to tell whether she is on your side or not until it's basically too late.
Sounds like somebody that we shouldn't mess with. I will say that when you said her name, a sound came into my ears, and he describes the sound, and it's essentially the sound of a ship, like the sound that a ship makes when it's sailing, the masts and everything bending and shifting the weight.
Okay.
What do you think it means?
Well, if you heard a particular sound, perhaps it would be very unfortunate if you or in any way your condition would in any way be tied to a deal of Baba Yaga or such. It is an unfortunate thing to be simply a pawn, because if the deal was made you had no part of to become what it is you perhaps are now. But I can assure you that if it was made with Baba Yaga and she were to be coming to collect payment, and if they were unable to pay, she might say, let those creations live and get their revenge or live their life, their second life. Or she may visit each and every single one of the surviving of you or your people, and either request that you drop dead on the spot or make another deal with her.
I hope I didn't make a deal.
You wouldn't have to make the deal. It would have been made in order to make you have what you are, what gifts you actually have and possess.
So just very disturbing.
The best thing I can tell you is if you are traveling around with the guild and you are doing any sort of guild work, if you find a small log hut, it has a stone chimney and enormous chicken legs, you walk and turn around the other direction. You do not even bother knocking on the door.
Okay. If I see that, I'll definitely run the other direction. She sounds terrifying.
I'm sure she wants you to believe that, yes. She probably also wants you to believe that she is the most friendly person in the world. So, the less, I believe the less we know about her is exactly what she wants. She's mystery wrapped in an enigma, and I would rather not touch her with any sort of pole, no matter what length.
I appreciate this. You filled in some gaps, I guess, and obviously more questions. Probably more questions than answers, but...
And unfortunately, for a lot of those answers, I would recommend that you... I don't know, perhaps maybe at some point the best way to get this information is to, in fact, go back, retrace your steps.
Just been so afraid to do that because afraid of what I'll find, I guess.
Well, you've got your group with you now, yes? The Convicts.
Yes, they're all very good friends. I appreciate them.
Well, 2 words of advice before you leave. He kind of takes your empty teacup and saucer. If you'll indulge me on 2 very quick pieces of advice.
Sure.
The good thing about having such a wide, unique variety of friends, such as the group you find yourself a part of, as long as you are all together, each of you it may not be so hard to consider because you have been through quite a bit of traumatic experience. But perhaps everyone in your group has gone through an equivalent of such an experience. And maybe they are all looking for their own resolutions as well. If you were to help them, I'm certain that they would indeed owe you the favor back.
That's good advice. Thank you, Victor.
Did you want the second one, perchance?
Yes.
Don't fuck with Baba Yaga. That's the only thing. I cannot stress that enough.
Yes. If anything was stressed, that was it.
I didn't want to give you nightmares, but I will say that I still to this day try to catch up on just a wee bit of minutes of sleep from all the hours lost in my childhood.
Well, this has been very good. Is there anything that
Go ahead.
Is there anything else that I can do for you while you're gone?
No, I think this is... I've already made arrangements with Beckett and all of that.
You don't have any pets, anything that needs to be fed?
Well, luckily, Putters does not require any sort of food sustenance or water. Or walks, really.
He looks over, recognizing the mechanical...
You do, yeah, and like in a bird-like cage, you see Putters. It's typically just kind of standing there, crouching there. He kind of points over to make it obvious, but you see it before he points, and he goes, I'm pretty sure at this point Putters just leaves whenever it wants to, but it does come back, and it does find a way to get itself back into a cage. I don't know how it works, but I'm sure there is a locking mechanism, key or something in one of its 8 arms that allows it to be able to get out. I'm not exactly sure.
Very unique creature.
It is different than the ones I see over in the trade district. That is for sure. Well, I must get some sleep. I believe after sleep and a nice warm bath in the morning, after some eggs and coffee, I will probably have to be getting back into the cart and heading back off into the forest.
Don't suppose I could bother you for one more cookie?
He takes a moment to really consider, and he's like, "Sure, but if I'm taking these with me tomorrow, just letting you know."
Okay. I wouldn't take him. Just to know if I could have another one. It's really good.
Now the true test is, he leaves some cookies. Do you take them without him knowing? The true moral quandary. You take one, and it's like in the top left screen. Victor will remember this.
Is Victor doing the marshmallow test on Sin?
The what?
The marshmallow test? Yeah, where you leave marshmallows or candy in front of a kid and you say, you can't have it until I get back, and then you leave, and then you see how long they wait to eat it.
I was
Because,
thinking...
kids are great to experiment on.
Yeah. I wish I did more experiments on them, but I feel like if I did the marshmallow test on my kids, I would leave.
My psychology professor in college had twins, and she was like, twins are the favorite. Like, everybody, psychologists love twins. They're like, because you can really, like, do multiple experiments with twins because you don't have to account for genetic differences.
Yeah. I would just put marshmallows in front of them and then leave.
But
That's
you
it.
tell them, you're like, if you don't eat the marshmallow if you wait for me to get back, then I'll give you, 2.
But I wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
I'm
I
kidding.
don't know, man.
I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that.
Sin does not take a full cookie.
She's like 18. She's like, my dad left to get marshmallows.
He doesn't take a full.
Back.
He doesn't take a full cookie.
Right, but if there are any like fourth of cookies on the bottom,
Oh, okay.
like some of them have broken off,
You taking the
then
cookie crumbles?
he might indulge in like a little partial cookie action.
A little thievery.
Just a slight bit. He can't contain himself and his thirst for sugar.
Fair.
Sugar's like more addictive than any drug.
That's right. That's why.
Always a bug after all.
Yep. That's why you guys can't get enough of me. All right. You've learned quite a bit of information. Again, I will make sure to the stuff about Krakova. I will make sure to send your way.
Nice. That was good.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Who's next?
Well, we could roleplay the awkward first trip to the Margreve Forest. Back.
You want to play Victor again?
Yeah, it's like boy, oh boy. I'm doing the Russian accent all night long. I can do that. That's fine. I'm gonna let you guys talk more though.
I don't know. Leopson's gonna probably try and engage with Victor more.
Wow. I don't blame you, saw it.
Right. Like, between you and me, this Prudence, it's like she's quite sneaky, right? Okay.
How dare you?
Well, that's just my thought. Like the trip all three of them take the first time to go to Margreve.
Yeah, that would work.
So Leopson needs to go to Margrave to go get the cloak, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you could approach her and be like, I need to come with you.
That catches wind of them going and quickly gears up and like trots up to the cart before they're leaving. Kind of holds his hand up and I'm driving.
Excuse me, do you think you're coming on this trip?
I know that I'm coming on this trip. I need to go back to the tower.
It seems fine with me.
And Leopson gestures to Victor like, see?
Prudence looks behind her at the supplies. I did not plan for you to come. You know this is a week-long trip.
Leopson pats his like satchel. I planned for myself.
It's fine. I could squish you in the middle. I am quite a squinty, a lithe person. I don't need a lot of elbow room.
Finding no real reason to deny him, she scoots over. All right, you can drive.
He climbs up and takes the reins. I had proficiency anyway.
Improvised.
So he clicks his tongue and jostles the reins and gets them going.
You keep using this word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
I said that correctly.
Prudence didn't allow Victor to scoot in between them. She just scooted over so that she's sitting next to him and she's in the middle. She crosses her arms and she doesn't really look irritated, but she's not really happy either. For what reason are you going to Margrave?
One of the items the merchants offered, I wanted to buy it.
What did you want to buy? Why couldn't you buy it when we were there?
He looks down at her. Because we got the coin for it after.
Oh, I suppose that makes sense.
It was one of the magical items. I didn't carry enough with me at the time. Still did not tell her what it. Like, purposely does not tell her what it is, though.
Great. Prudence is a curious person. That's gonna piss her off.
Good. I'm glad.
Silence settles over the cart. For
Do you
a
think
while.
that you guys, you've been quite successful with these, you know, you're traveling out and doing these contracts?
Well, not to be crass, but we did much better than the last group.
Yeah, I think give her a look.
That is in fact actually quite crass. Yes.
He also just gives her like a what the hell look on his face.
She's not in her element.
Besides you guys, the only other real successful group has been this the giant orc guy jock, the bugbear goblin. You know, that group.
They've been quite successful, you say?
I mean, they've not quit, they have not died, and they've brought back a reasonable amount of good stuff for the guild. So I mean, by all aspects, you both do good things for the guild.
Prudence, like, internally rolls her eyes. I'd say that's bare minimum.
Have they been bringing you research?
Yeah, they don't really bring much. They are not quite capable. I say they do come out ahead in terms of bringing back creatures. That's why we gave you the cart.
You gave them a cart as well?
I did not give them a cart. I would have said also, but if I exclude the word also, then that means that you are the only possessors of this prototype cart.
Really awesome. Chuckles. Snickers.
He says it just matter-of-factly. He's just like if I did not include the word also, then that means it's the only one.
See, what my dad would have said, oh, I don't know. If I meant as well, I would have said something along the lines of, oh, I don't know, as well. So I was waiting from Dad Jordan, and
He's not,
quite
no.
frankly, no.
Victor's not sassy. He's just sometimes just rude without trying to be rude.
Just blunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just blunt. Prudence doesn't know that, however. And she kind of slinks down in the cart. And she's less like looking forward. She's already knows she's fucked up once in the conversation. And she just feels like she's continuing to fuck up, so she's quiet for a little while.
After I think at one point when you hit the open road and Victor asks if you know if anyone knows any good, you know, cart traveling road songs, he does actually come around to talking about having, like, what are some of the crazy things you guys have already been the part of together besides this recent fight with the Gabahali.
Gibraltar.
Ghirardelli.
I think we can agree to disagree, yes. But what are some of the shenanigans I have not been able to hear about?
Why didn't you go firstly, Austin?
We had a brawl in the bathhouse. Prudence was naked.
Wait, like in Zobeck?
Baby.
Looks down even farther and covers her face.
I mean, I'm only familiar with the one in the bathhouse in Zobeck, but perhaps there might be more. I don't get to really travel a whole lot, and you know, please, if you could indulge, and please let me know. This was the bathhouse in Zobeck?
If you don't tell Beckett, then it was the house in Zobeck.
I'm pretty sure that...
Situation called for it, alright? I had nothing else to use except my towel. Was I supposed to let them get away? And she looks up at Austin.
Austin just like offers like a shrug. We were looking for somebody, and it happened a few other people were also looking for this person.
And So therefore they wanted to fight?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, at least, you know, to your benefit, Prudent, you're more capable with your hands and feet than than anybody else in your group would be. So, you actually were probably better equipped. I'm pretty sure that you, Leofton, would be pretty upset you had to go all the way back to your locker to get, like, an axe or your weapon.
Prudence kind of smiles and sits up a little straighter, and she's proud of herself. You're right, I am good with my hands and my feet and the rest of my body. And she clears her throat. The other things we've done, quite extensive. We've been a few places. We encountered a tree that had fireflies all around it. It bolstered our health. Felt very much better.
Was that here in the forest?
Yes, here in Margreve. Would you like to visit?
Sure. Side note, you can't find it.
Really?
Yeah.
They spent an extra day. Leofton's just sitting in the cart huffing the whole time.
Like, I'm certain it was here. There was this big boulder. We went around the boulder, and it was, like, right there. And you're like, no, it's not there anymore.
Script's not going good for her.
It took a whole extra day.
Other than that, let's see. When we went to the towers, the Griffin Towers, we were ambushed. She kind of looks up at Leofston for him to help her tell the story.
When we got to the tower, we were able to make contact with the inhabitants and got some information, and then immediately hobgoblins decided they wanted the cart and the horses. And we decided they shouldn't have their hands anymore.
I don't know if I decided that.
That is rather brutal, but... So you guys have, clearly you have established a bit of, relationship with, like, you know each other quite well, like, you have come to Zobeck to be able to take advantage of the Hunters Guild and all of the treasures it has to offer?
Prudence sort of narrows her eyes and says, well, you think you know someone, and then you tell them things, and then they keep things from you. Really?
Leofton, clucks his tongue and makes the horses go a little bit faster.
You got to be watch out for the bumps. I don't know if I'm wearing proper protection for padding on my rear
You're
end.
fine.
Oh, do you need something? I could get you something from the back of the cot. And she immediately, dives back, so her legs are, dangling over the side, and she starts digging for, I don't know, a pillow or a blanket for him.
She's doing, Victor's just doing, a casual, after being yelled at by Leofston, and then they got... It's like, alright, cool, third wheel, got it.
Leofton takes in, a big breath and, keeps talking. And he's like, we actually didn't know each other that well. He kind of, tips his head. Apparently, we knew each other the night before. We went to prison pretty well. But most of us were pretty drunk, and none of us actually remember what happened.
Her tail flicks you in the cheek, Leofston. Not sure if it's on purpose or not.
Not quite.
Leofston reaches for her foot, here, let me help you, and just tips her all the way back in. You're welcome.
She falls on Victor.
Hopefully we didn't bring anything breakable this time. I have a couple of beakers back there.
Just chill about it? Okay, she's not. She gets very flustered, and she hands him whatever soft thing she found.
Well, thank you. Sits on it, and then again, just kind of turns his body maybe 15 degrees, looking out, and trying to look at that's a Persephone tree. The leaves on that. Mutters to himself.
Neither one of them are listening.
Are you sure you don't want me to drive?
It's fine. I haven't.
I don't think we're getting there quick enough.
Maybe if we were to looking for a tree with fireflies around it, we would get there a little quicker, but
It was next to the river. You were there with me.
It wasn't next to the river, it was next to the boulders. I told you this, and you didn't listen to me.
Is it next to the boulders?
It'd be fine if we came and looked on the way back. We don't have to, like, it is not. We don't need to argue about this. It's fine. Oh look, a deer.
What kind of deer is it, Victor?
Yes, what kind of deer is it?
I don't know every type of. I don't. You think I know everything? I am not a human Pokédex.
What's a Pokédex?
What's the Pokédex?
It's mental dexterity. To be able to poke at something and go, "What's that?" and then someone be able to tell you.
Oh, so should I have to poke you for information?
It's more like okay. So
He's teasing him. After a little bit of time has passed and they're kind of quiet for a little bit, she's she kind of doesn't really look at Victor, but she's kind of like glances over at him. I'm really happy that you decided to join me. I do think that relationship between Margreve and Drengskapo will be quite beneficial for all of us.
yeah, I don't. It's very not often that I expected to be so quickly after the guild opened to be going as an emissary to talk about relationships with nearby places. The last I know that Margrave was a target of expansion for Zobeck as far as increasing the population.
They want to go into the Margrave forest.
I mean, as far as the lumber and stuff, which was used quite a bit. I don't pay attention so much to politics, but there was I believe, a major decision, or at least something that always pops up at a lot of the, I guess, however it is that the Free City votes nowadays. I don't quite participate, but talking about if Zobeck were to grow further in population and have equal representation for all of the different races that live there, that there would need to be a cause for expansion outside of the current walls, which would mean, you know, that across the River Argent to the let me get my directions right, to the east, would mean that they would have to start going into the outskirts of the Margrave Forest.
Mara's not going to like that.
No, I suppose not. She did say that she was joining us, right? To speak for the forest. She's quite quiet. Perhaps we should talk to her more.
Looks over. Does she join us? Like looking around the cart.
That's the thing about Mars, you don't know exactly where they are.
They're always there, right around the corner, waiting for you. While being super cute.
You pass by like a centaur that you thought was Mara, but they're wearing a gray outfit, like top. You couldn't. Their hood was up. You couldn't see like who exactly it was, so you didn't really pay them any mind. You just drove right past.
Are you singing about the tiger eye?
I think the last thing you see is a tiger's eye.
What do you think that this moss at this Griffin Tower could be able to help out?
Well, to be quite frank, I just thought that perhaps you would enjoy learning more about the creatures. It wasn't until, you know, things, they sort of take on a life of their own sometimes, and it's sort of transformed into this relationship building thing. But I just thought maybe you'd like to see creatures up close.
Well, I mean, it certainly would. I don't. Do you think that the tower would be able to accommodate a small fraction of my equipment?
Oh yes, it's quite big, I think. She looks up at Leofston for what he thinks.
He does not help. He's driving.
Turns down the radio so he can focus more.
Does the dad thing with the hands like staring miles ahead. You said that you were ambushed by hobgoblins, and of course there was the large or the huge creature that was there, not that far away. Are you sure that it is safe? Now, I mean, you of course are probably better equipped for danger and such, but there was, the thing about Zobeck is there is a lot of things to go through before they really get to Guild. I am, I feel like I am much more protected there than coming out here and risking being ended by either animal or plant or mineral, honestly.
Well, I can't help you if you eat something bad, but I can protect you.
But you have jobs to do as you go around to different places. I'm assuming that I'll come here of my own accord after we set up these relations.
Well, I hope that you don't come on your own accord. I'd like to accompany you to keep you safe. I trust me to protect you. I don't know if I trust anybody else to do that.
I mean,
Some grunts.
Are you saying that if it is a requirement for you to be able to come with me, that if you are gone for perhaps months at a time, I am to not go into the Margreve forest, or if you happen to perish in one of your journeys and contracts, I am never to step foot into Margreve forest again?
I don't begin to tell you what you should do with your life, nor should you have to go anywhere with me in particular. I like for you to be safe.
A little slow on the uptake. He goes, well, if you're in town, yes, of course, if you're here and I decide that I want to go to Margreve and you have like spare time, then yes, but I think you're not telling me what to do with my life. I am a capable human of being able to make my own decisions. Hey, look, there's a rabbit. It's a blue one. What the...
Leosin has regretted now joining this venture.
I regret everything.
It only took 15 minutes.
Oh god, it's only been 15 minutes. This is so awkward.
No, it encompasses the whole time. You did stop to look for a tree that wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So Victor, what do you hope to get out of this? I mean, you must have agreed for a reason.
Well, I don't know how much you know of. So the Black Hills is in the forest itself. It is just beneath the duchy of Morgau and Doresh, which have been like problematic to the province I used to come from in Krakovar. It is not common that, while it is a neighboring duchy, but it is less likely that the undead plan to come through the forest itself. Whoever it is that is protecting the forest does a wonderful job of being able to maintain and keep them at bay. Which obviously helps Zobeck, because in order to get to us, you either have to go through the Iron Crags or completely all the way around Margreve Forest, which would involve much more of a heads up as far as an encroaching army.
Yes, and there's a god that protects the forest too. I don't expect that they would be happy with anybody just trouncing through.
Which god would that be?
She sort of realizes that she just casually mentioned this. Not that she thinks that he knows that she knows anything, but she clears her throat. I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about gods. That's all. Never met one, of course.
ever met one.
Never, ever. That'd be weird, right?
Never met one important enough to mention to somebody else.
Yeah, and then never met one and then told one of your best friends about it.
I actually think it's probably more weird that you keep bringing to the fact that both of you have not actually met a god, which, I mean, everybody's not met a god, but that seems more normal.
We're both totally normal. Normal, yeah.
But when you call attention to it, it seems less believable.
Look, a blue rabbit.
No, it's the same blue rabbit, it's just keeping up with us.
Prudence gets sort of a playful look on her face, and she does like sort of the same side eye at Leofston. So what was it that you said you were coming for again? Some sort of magical item. I didn't quite catch it.
I have come to learn what regret is.
You think you're very funny, don't you?
No, I think I'm hilarious.
Is that a magical item?
Is it Leofston? Is it a magical item? Regrets?
Could be. It's very useful sometimes to learn lessons, such as maybe not to join such a trip again.
Hey, I have to say that she keeps bringing this up probably every day that we've been on this journey. What exactly are you going to look for?
Yeah, tell us. She looks so smug and satisfied.
Leofston gives Victor a look like he's about to steal his lunch money at some point. But finally sighs and goes, it's a robe.
A robe? For you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's magical, if it's magical, it must be useful.
For the price, I hope it's magical.
How much are you paying? What was that? I only heard a grumble.
We must have hit another speed bump.
Fortunate for you, I did grumble.
Are you sure it'll fit you? You're quite large.
He, like, slowly pivots at the waist and looks down at her. Like, hold on. He does. It's one of these numbers. Victor! What are you implying?
I've never seen a warrior wear a cloak before.
It's not a cloak, it's a robe.
Oh, a robe.
Mm-hmm. A robe.
There's a tie in the front. Is it purple? Does it have a hood? Is it spiked? Like a wizard? Are you going to cast spells?
Yasin is just stone-faced, like, staring down at her.
There's a lot of questions for just... if the man does not wish to tell what he wants to purchase, then I suppose it would be best and kind to be able to just perhaps find a different topic?
Actually, what does it look like?
It would be best and kind to do that.
Leofston, when you saw it, you didn't quite see it very quickly, but maybe a couple things caught your eye, and that's why you're interested in it. But it is like not a very pristine looking flashy robe, which I think also is another reason why you might like it. But it is covered in just like almost like a quilt. There's patches everywhere, and they look like they're not even well stitched on. Like they're like a single just, if I, with no knowledge of how to sew anything, took a robe and went, I'm gonna stitch magical items to it, and just stitched it with like going, I believe this is how stitching works, and then just do it that way.
Half of them are upside down.
Like the first home ec project I've ever done. I'm like, see, they don't come off.
I have an idea of what it looks like, but I have an idea of what it looks like, but I don't want to describe it in order to spoil some of the things on it. I might, but then again, I still might draw it soon, so maybe.
I mean, I'll say a general picture that that the Dungeon Master's Guide gives is just like that.
I was thinking like a robe.
Yeah, no, it is.
It looks like a blanket.
It is essentially like just a big blanket with a bunch of random stitchings all over it and patches.
Because my vision was he's going to turn it into a surcoat, basically just like put armholes in it and like a surcoat over his armor. Is it that light blue color? Because that's actually kind of perfect.
I mean, it could be whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
Favorite.
It could be a denim jacket of useful things. Who knows? Like, it's whatever you want.
Denim jacket shoved on top of his split mail.
I mean, a denim jacket is certainly something that I've seen patches on before. So
it's just a robe. Looks useful.
Alright, I'll stop teasing. And she does, and it becomes quiet. What's worse, the quiet or the teasing? You decide.
Victor, you said something about traveling songs.
I'm not quite a good singer, but I don't know. I haven't heard a good song in a while.
Austin looks expectantly down at Prudence. He hasn't heard a good song in a while.
Oh, perhaps you know one.
I mean, I only know of one, but again, I am not a good singer.
I would love to hear you sing it, Victor.
I could give it my best shot. Let me roll a quick performance check.
Ooh, roll high so Prudence can swoon.
It is exactly what you think as far as his performance levels. But the song goes a little something like this. This is the song that never ends. It goes on and on, my friend.
It's over now. As soon as he starts singing the Hops, it's like, it's done. We understood. We've got it.
Prudence absolutely loses it. No, can you tell me the lyrics again? I'll sing it with you.
He looks side-eye at Leos and goes, I'll write it down when we get to the tower.
Thank you.
So, Leof, then, you tell me about this, you say you come from the north, right?
I do.
You, what, I believe, if you're familiar with the Nether Straits, Krakova, in fact, is the best, I'm sure you've done lots of trading with Krakova in the past.
Right? Trading, yes. Plenty of trading.
I said trading.
Trading!
With a T? I just want to make sure we're saying the same thing. Trading.
Leosin takes a big, deep, patient breath. Trading.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you probably have just a bit bigger problem with the river dwarves of the Wolfmark than that we did too.
Leostin's hands tighten on the reins to a point where they start creaking.
the sound of leather.
Yeah, it's
Like,
creaking as leather.
Ooh, what a sound! What a sound!
I've had my experiences with.
Well, they're not good. I'll tell you that.
Not good.
Oddly enough, you see Prudence's hand in your peripheral, and she gently taps on your hand and then pulls back. She's not looking at you, though.
Leostin's hands?
Mm-hmm. She's trying to
At the-
comfort him.
At the tap, his hands kind of like, his hands relax around the reins. His shoulders kind of like go from to.
You know, one of the things you are familiar with ley lines, right? At least
I heard of them.
they say Hugin's arrow goes through a nearby island. It's very big island, but it's dubbed the Smuggler's Isle. They say it's rumored that there's the Shadow Road itself goes through that island, and that is why that island is so dangerous, but also quite wealthy.
I know plenty of Durango who went and tried that island. Very few came back successful.
If they, from what I've not done any traveling on any sort of shadowy road, because it sounds dangerous. But they say if you do not have a guide, that you will get lost and you will not be able to ever find your way back.
Austin kind of nods. Understand? At least he's heard that as well. So how long's it been since you were in Krakova?
Oh, it's been a few years, maybe coming up on 2. I remember leaving. It's not easy to leave Krakova in the province in the dead of winter, but I had to do what I had to. There's a lot of terrible things that have been going on up there. But from what I've gotten from stories at the taverns in Zobeck, there's a lot of terrible things going on everywhere. So,
what's going on in Krakova?
The disestablishment of politics and the way that people have been living, the takeover of vampires and the undead, it's just, I mean, a lot of... That's putting it lightly, but yes.
He also kind of gets like a grunt of sympathy. He understands like how much politicians suck.
I'm really happy that you're here and safe instead of there.
We are dragging him into Margreve for us. I'm not sure how safe he actually is.
Do you not think that I can protect the victor?
Mm-hmm.
There's an edge to her voice.
I heard that there was a hydra somewhere in the more marshy parts of the forest.
Oh, do you want to go see it?
I would prefer not to see something like that.
I thought you were a researcher, not a chicken.
I am a researcher, but it is as far as after the fact that it has been taken care of and brought into me in, luckily, this contraption that I've spent much brain power and money being able to construct for you, and it would be terrible had it go to waste in order for me to just tag along and research on the spot with none of my equipment.
How do you do your research? Do you... He often kind of like tries to make like little delicate like cutty look like little you know.
It is not as much. I've done my fair share of dissecting. It is more taking things that are known and looking at creatures that are unknown and trying to make safe comparisons between the two. Like the Gabahali. I took a second before I got whisked away. The assessment was right. It was pretty much like a overgrown crocodile. There was a few different things of cause of evolution. I got to look at the head quite a bit while talking to Beckett. And I believe if you could find the scales and hide at least in good condition, there might be a way to make some sort of armor that uses the abilities that this thing was able to possess, which was a little bit of shielding itself from view in certain circumstances.
I wonder what Sin did to hide them. That might be useful for him.
Well, the guide that was provided, it was not bad. It is certainly capable of researching individual scales and bits itself, but to make it into an actual workable piece of armor is, I think at this point it was not done well enough, unfortunately.
Where did the head go?
Still learning.
It's in the hall, the main hall.
Leofton kind of like looks proud of that. He kind of sits up a little bit more like, hey, we did that. I cut the head off. It was us. We did it.
There's but no, most of my research is a lot of writing nowadays. Tea, late nights, and writing.
So you prefer things to be dead when they come to you?
He also looks pointedly at Prudence at that.
It's much easier to avoid any sort of accidents. Yes, I believe that seeing your friend will be able to. He's quite interested in the dissecting and harvesting of creatures, and perhaps maybe I'll start sharing some of my notes with him to help you guys out and perhaps bring back some better quality things.
Prudence doesn't know why, but she feels a hint of jealousy. Sure, you could share with Sin. It does have to be dead before it gets to you. You know, we will be doing the killing. But sure, yeah, share with Sin. He's very smart. Good at cutting things up.
It's like side-eyeing her, like.
Would you say an 18 would be able to pick up that on an insight check?
Absolutely.
Okay, he goes, well, you're the one that introduced me to him. I don't understand what the voice tone, you don't sound like that normally when you talk.
I don't know what you're talking about. And she's looking away. Obviously lying.
I heard a little bit of tooth. There was a little bit of a fang to that.
Mouths have fangs and teeth.
They do. And you used yours.
I think I've gone through a lot of effort to bring things to Victor. That's all.
Are you expecting a reward of some sort?
And now you want me to go do it my own self. You say you bring things to me, but you want me to now...
I don't want you to go by yourself. I want you to go with me. And she kind of stops, and I didn't mean it like that. I just want you to be safe. Forget it. It's fine. You can totally go with Sin. And she dives into the back of the cart.
Could you check on the refrigerant back there? I'm pretty sure that there may be a pipe loose. My back is starting to grow goosebumps.
Yes, of course. You guys
and then he proceeds to talk to Lee Austin for about 45 minutes about the science behind refrigerant.
And Lee Austin listens. Just listen. He just lets it happen. He just already pretty pleased about what happened. He allows Victor his victory, his speech, his lecture. Also thinking like Lex actually might be kind of useful, certainly, because I don't know if you guys know this fact, but around wintertime, like a lot of times Vikings have like in their homesteads they have like a barn in their house. That's part of the barn is their house. That way the animals keep them warm. But to make sure they have enough food for everybody, they butcher a bunch of their animals, but keep enough where you can like repopulate the next year. So they salt and smoke that meat, so they eat it throughout the winter. And so
Victor already said the F word. You could say shit.
Yes. And so he's nice. I think he's like, when I go back home, maybe one of these systems would certainly save us some time.
Victor to make him build your refrigerator.
So that he's like, that would save us time and energy.
Next thing you know, he's gonna be going down to like Nuri and Natal and be like, "Let me tell you about Central Air."
Actually, so Leoson's actually like really interested in listening to it because she's trying to like, maybe this is something I can actually use when I go home.
Okay, well, we got a few more minutes. If there's any other things you wanted to toss into this this RP before you make it there and back.
What's camping like for them?
Ooh, what is camping like?
What is camping like?
What is camping like?
I'm assuming that Victor, the studious guy, like he's probably collected camping gear over the years, but has never used it. So he's got everything you could think of, and probably even overpacked. And he's just like, the great outdoors. And then like, but he's like, Leofton, could you help me hammer in these tent pole? I don't know how you can. How is this? It does not make any sense. What is gravity does not work in the forest? And like,
Prudence pissed off in the background. He's not asking her to help. He has muscles.
Leofton happily helps with anything he asks. Oh, I could show you how to use a hammer.
Well, then that becomes distracting.
Well, Victor has like all this setup. Leofton just has like a bedroll and his sword.
Aww.
And his food, like typical like stuff like that, but he doesn't have a fraction of the gear Victor has brought.
he probably spends the majority of the free time explaining why each of these things are particularly useful in a camp setting.
And Leofton's like, or you could use a rock.
You see, this you could actually be able to cook things on top of it, and you sanitize it. It makes your food. Or you could just use a rock.
Or Leofton will actually like show him how to make like one of those smoking like stands where it's just using sticks and leaves and stuff. He's like, or you could use the. There's no reason to buy a bunch of. And he just kind of like flicks his hand at like the stuff. It's good to have, but when you're on campaign and walking for 40 days, some things can just be found in books.
Now, Leofton, I think what Victor's brought is rather cute and useful. Let him have it.
No, and he can have it as much as he wants. He has a beautiful, fancy cart that he has provided to carry these things. I'm just saying, when you are... I'm just saying.
You can tell Prudence agrees with you, but she's like, don't, like, leave him alone.
He's doing his best.
And Leofton trying to do both, like, telling them he's right, while trying not to, like, he's not trying to really spare his feelings, but he doesn't want the drama of sparing his feelings, so he's, like, doing both back and forth, or he's like, no, he's doing a very good job, I'm just saying he's bad.
Victor's like, yeah, I'm doing a great job.
I'm not saying he's wrong, I'm just saying he's a tryhard, so...
I'm not saying he's wrong, I'm just saying I'm more right than he is.
Prudence, meanwhile, has brought nothing and sleeps in a tree. Safest place.
I was just there. He very rarely sleeps, only because like he's so old. He's got a bunch of his little like, crabby achy, so he wakes up a lot. So like he's like, whatever, I'm just gonna keep watching her. So he just stares at her. It's like he's like making bets with himself about when she's about to fall out of that tree. Disappointed every night.
She never does.
Disappointed every night.
Her balance is impeccable. It's very impressive.
When like he starts like throwing things at her.
No, he doesn't. Don't make it canon. You'll get in trouble.
He tries one, and when it misses, he just stops. He just doesn't even bother anymore.
Just like looking to see if Victor's already asleep. He goes.
And when it misses, he takes it as the will of the gods. Just don't mess with her. Just it's she's meant to be up there.
Okay.
Oh, this is so cute.
Well, the meeting between Moss and Victor, obviously, for you, Prudence, over the course of the next 3 weeks, is quite beneficial. They over the course of 3 weeks, you also find that some merchants and travelers have come through, and they are a little bit better defended, obviously. He has a remote workstation on one of the floors that had less things in it, and there's been overall it's just been good to be able to provide. I'll find out exactly what the benefit is. I'm sure I'm better at coming up with it on the spot, but I think for most of the general creatures that that you would encounter, like the typical things, probably adds to the extra things you get to know about each creature. Now, if it's a thing that no one's seen before, that's still going to be quite unknown and quite valuable, obviously. And then Leofton, of course, you get your Robe of useful items.
Which I'm very excited about. Can't wait to start whipping this thing out.
Gross. And you guys head back to Zobeck proper. Just to let everybody kind of know, I know we're going to be doing the next couple sessions until everyone's like, I think we're good on RP sessions and scenes. The amount of time that I am thinking about, of course we have the 3 weeks, so if we're considering the day after you came back from the Griffin Tower the first time, it would have been the 10th of Harvesttide. If that goes for 3 weeks, that puts you at the 3rd of Redleaf. And the time jump that I'm thinking about, I have to ask a couple of very important questions. I believe it has been requested that there is supposed to be some sort of gift-giving Christmas episode. Has that been a request?
Yes, absolutely.
I believe there was also a ball involved. I don't know.
I think... Okay, so... You will get your ball,
It's not
Poppy,
gonna be a Christmas ball.
Honey
This is
Blossom.
Poppy. This is me, Skylar. This is my thing.
Uh,
I need one in every game.
You will get your ball, and I think by the end of it, you will say, I wish I never said that I wanted a ball.
I just want a fun little Christmas ball, and you're gonna traumatize me? Cool.
I mean, I can give you an ornament and say that's a little fun little Christmas ball, but I figured you wanted a dance ball, masquerade, all that kind of stuff. So I'm literally, I bought the book that's the biggest balls of them all, and we're gonna play through that.
But yeah,
Alright,
Christmas
AC/DC.
episode.
Okay, so Christmas episode. I'm thinking that we would be getting actually pretty close to the end of Last Leaf, which would be then September. There would be I would assume, since we're doing this sort of casual thing right now, that the next thing we would do after the time jump would be the travel to the Temple of the Gods and back. Which, fun fact for you guys, just so you're aware of how much time that's gonna take. With the powers of mathematics, it is the way to get there physically that I have measured out is a total of 472 miles.
That's a lot of miles.
'Tis a lot of miles.
How many in, like, time?
How many miles can one go in a day? 24. Which means it will take you almost 20 days, almost a full month, there and back, which will put you very close to Christmas, or candle nights, whatever we're calling it.
You better find some intelligent creatures along the road to kill so Poppy doesn't get murdered by her mother.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to disappoint your mom before your golden birthday.
Yeah.
Good to
Otherwise,
know,
one of
considering
y'all.
what your gift for the god might be.
Oh yeah, weren't we supposed to talk about that today?
I mean, we can kind of wrap up the last 5 or so minutes. We can also carry that over into the next one. I didn't know some people were keeping. I don't know if people were keeping it close to their chest or whatnot, but
I already told everybody.
It's on
I
mine.
mean, yeah.
I know
so-
what mine is.
Does anyone need help coming up with theirs?
I mean, you said
Yes.
mine was fine, so yeah, let's help Skylar. All of our
Help.
brains together.
Because my first idea was like, I'll give her a flower, but then I'm like, no, that's stupid. I literally gave her a flower earlier.
Well, then that sounds like that is not a gift that you are confident with.
I'm not confident with it. I don't know if you've met me, Jordan, but I'm not exactly a confident person.
Mm.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
But what about Poppy? Is Poppy confident?
Depends on the day.
Throw your mom a Christmas ball.
Oh my god.
What are the parameters for the gifts again?
If I recall correctly,
Because I do not recall correctly, so I'm asking.
it is a gift that you are fully confident in that would be sufficient for your godparent.
Yeah, it's like a feeling.
Literally nothing that I say I will be confident in. Me, the player, as a person, I won't be confident. I will always second guess whatever I'm giving. But
Maybe that's
I can
Poppy's
pretend that
thing.
Poppy is.
And maybe
Well-
that is maybe she doesn't offer a gift up to her mother.
Yeah.
You give her like 3 gifts. You give her one. You're like, and if you don't like that, you can have this. And if you don't like that, then you can have this.
And here's the
Yeah, that's
receipts.
good. Yeah,
I
you
Like-
could.
it's like every
Or
month
I
mom.
wasn't sure if you would like that, so I also got you this thing. And then I saw this, and I
Armfuls
also
of presents.
yeah.
3 different sweaters of different colors.
That
I also made a sweater, and then
I didn't know your
here's
size.
a pie. It's a little bad because it's been 20 days, but you know,
it was made with love.
I didn't know if you were a fruit pie person, so I also drew this picture for you.
Yeah, I don't
You
know if
made-
you actually like pie, so I just drew a picture of pie for you.
Yeah, it sounds like with Poppy, it is like I can't decide, so here's like 10 gifts, or
I'm
I
confident
can't-
in all 10 of these,
or
but I'm not confident in a single one.
right, or it's like I'm not confident at all, and so I have nothing to offer you.
Pottery
I
ashtray.
I see that.
She made it herself.
Yep.
I see the giving no gift as something that could definitely not go wrong.
I honestly really like the idea of you giving your mom a book and being like, your gift is being my mom. Like, low-key, hear me out. That's, like, intelligent for a fae.
Mhm.
Play into your trickster tendencies.
It's flattery. They love flattery.
You
Very
Play a
little
trick
farm
on your
girl.
mom.
Yeah, you yourself are a fae, you
What
know?
if I do like that one thing that happens in like Sleeping Beauty where I'm like, I give you the gift of grace. And also, you're cursed. Here, you're gonna prick your finger on a freaking spindle.
I mean, I think what makes I think it sounds like we got some time to think about it, but it sounds like it's either a lot of gifts or no gifts, according to what Poppy sounds like to me.
Poppy's gonna show up with like Santa's entire sack, and everyone else is gonna be like, here's a paperclip. I'm gonna give 1,000 things.
Here's a thought.
Yeah.
Now, this is me saying this without really doing much research into who the mother is in particular. But as her daughter, who essentially had someone else raise her, why doesn't Poppy gift her the gift of her childhood by like writing down her memories or writing down things she thought were
That's
important,
adorable.
like
That's
her
super cute.
first day of school or like
That
like
sounds
her
like
favorite.
Poppy too.
Yeah, like it's like give her the
Because-
gift of the things you've missed. So say you can know
Initially,
me.
what I wanted to do, back at the tower was I wanted to start like kind of quote unquote praying to my mom, and doing that I just like talk about my day to her. And that's initially what I was gonna do, but then Wicket was like, that's a bad idea. And I'm like, okay, I believe you fully. You can sell me anything.
Give her Wicket.
Yeah.
No! She gave me Wicket. I can't just give it back. That's regifting. That's rude
Put it
for
in a
Faye.
different wrapper.
I put a little hat on it.
This isn't Wicket, this is Wacket.
I
Don't
tell
whack it.
I tell you what, to give
There's
you
like 1 hit point.
to give you a little fun tease, Poppy. Since you could not spend time researching what you wanted to research, do you want to share that with what you were wanting to do, or did you want to keep that again close to your chest for right now?
What? Sorry. No, I heard you. I just didn't like understand what was being said.
Do you want to keep, like, I'm about to go into something. Do you want to keep that a secret, or do you want to let everyone know what it is you were wanting but could not research?
Yeah, go ahead, say it.
I was hoping you would say it. It's one less thing for me to
I
click
would
on,
say
but
it? Okay, I can say it. I just have to click on the thing.
it was just a
scroll
test.
up.
I wanted to see if see if you were paying attention
No,
as a DM.
Because I wasn't paying attention as a player, apparently.
You said this time you want to research memory or how to recover
I
one's.
wanted to, do that, and then also research the Shadow Fae. But
Okay. So I'll tell you what you end up with at the end of the 3 weeks. I'll give this to you, but I won't give it all to you. One morning while in Zobeck, as you have kind of developed a sort of path of common travel to and from where you are learning your medicine, you actually get a package that has been anonymously delivered to you by one of the various messaging services.
Another one.
This has happened before. I was invited to a meeting where we had mushroom soup.
Delicious mushroom soup.
I'm traumatized.
I assume, would Poppy open it right then and there, or would she wait until she goes somewhere?
Poppy would, like, start to open it and then realize, oh wait, I'm in the middle of the road. I should probably not. And then she'd go home and open it.
Okay. So, when you go home and you open it, it is a small vial, a filter, Philter, and contained inside of it, unlike a liquid, it is liquid-like. It is definitely a you see this sort of silvery, sparkly, faint, almost sort of translucent, swirling liquid. Lighter than liquid, in fact, but nonetheless, it has the consistencies at times of liquid and of not. When you touch the glass of the filter, you get a sense, you get a flash of emotion that briefly, that you feel. And you feel that within this is more of that emotion. But the emotion that you get is I'll say, look up the table of emotions just so I can properly explain what I want.
Use Arunas. Except for the horny one, don't use that one.
Oh man, there goes that whole thing.
I touch it and feel horny. What is this feeling?
Using Abby Van Musen's watercolor emotion wheel. Let's start with saying joy, but we'll drill down a little bit and say that it is connected. We'll drill down even further still and say that it is grateful. You get this emotion of gratefulness briefly as you touch the glass.
How sweet.
Grateful someone gave me a gift. Now what's this thing?
Completely lost on her over her head.
Poppy has a +0 intelligence. I must remind you. Just like swirl it around a little bit.
There's no note, nothing. Just the filter.
Hey Wicket, you're smarter than me. What is this?
It looks like a glass bottle with a cork stopper.
Wow. You're so wise.
It looks like a bottle of Chipotle Tabasco sauce. Wow.
I just looked. Wicket has a +2 intelligence.
Why do you have Tabasco sauce on your desk?
Bro, you don't... I mean, as much as I eat Chipotle, you always need to have a bottle of Tabasco sauce Chipotle.
I have a picture of my son on my desk.
Look, I see them every day, but like when I get to eat Chipotle, it is like my private Zen time.
This is daddy time.
Do you do anything with the filter, Poppy, or do you save it for later?
I'm gonna sniff it.
You're gonna sniff it.
Yeah.
Ooh, awesome.
Remember to whiff it, don't sniff it.
Okay.
Poppy doesn't know the difference.
You unstop
Rest in
her. So you pull the cork out and you sniff at it. Are you keeping it upright?
Yeah.
She pours it in her nose.
There's,
Oh no!
there's not a nothing really escapes out of it, and you don't smell anything. But it's just, it is odd. It's a weird mixture of like gas, liquid, like all contained within this thing. Like, you know, it's not. It moves like liquid on parts, moves like gas on the others. It's pretty.
My first instinct was to drink it, but what if it's poison from the spies? It's probably not. I drink it.
Just a little bit. I like put some on like my pinky.
Okay.
Poppy, honey blossom.
+0 intelligence.
Okay. Would you consider yourself... Well, I'll explain what happens, and I'll need you to tell me if you're unwilling. As you tilt it to sort of pour a little bit out, what you believed was liquid is not. What you believed as gas is not. It exits the filter so much different than your observations led you to believe, and all of it comes out in sort of just a draping fog-like mass that immediately seeks its way into your eyes, ears, nose, mouth. Would you consider yourself a willing creature for this? to this experience before you?
Oh my. Would it be like a contested roll? If not?
I'm just asking.
Because I want it to happen, but I don't know if Poppy would be willing.
That's the thing. If you're Skylar, you know, if there's unwillingness to certain magical things, there is a saving throw to try to avoid it.
Yeah, I know. I just want to know if it's something that I'm good at, because I'm hoping it's something that I'm not.
That
good
would be cheating.
Yeah, I know. We'll
It's
say
only cheating if you get caught. Look away,
I'm gonna
Jordan.
roll a d4, and if Poppy is willing, it's a 1 or a 2. If she's unwilling, it's a 3 or a 4. She's willing. Let's go.
Okay.
I welcome this foreign body into mine.
This is cool.
You hesitate for a second, but think that since you received sort of a grateful, joyous feeling from this, how bad could it possibly be? And we will pick that up next week when we start our next session
when
of
Poppy
Midgard.
dies. Let's go, guys.